It's J Moore, the very best reviews. Tell them none can contest, we gon'
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the show. I appreciate y'all for coming through. We're going to break down HBO's documentary for Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, episode 3, The Fall. Okay, so this right here is going to be a review recap for the documentary. It seems that right now in this period of time, they're playing a lot of documentaries on a lot of networks, and they have been good documentaries. The Shaq documentary is no different. It is very good, very well put together, and it's not exactly a basketball doc, although it does cover a lot of basketball because, of course, Shaq is a basketball player, at least for the majority of his life. Something in my eye, so you're going to have to bear with me. But anyway, I think it's a hair or something. Anyway, so Shaq is a basketball player, so of course it's going to be basketball. But it's a lot of things covered about his upbringing, his father, his uncle, behind the scenes information. So it makes it more interesting than just watching basketball highlights. This thing is driving me crazy. I think it's an eyelash fell in my eye. Anyway, needs. Too bad none of my sisters that's watching is here to help. Anyway, one thing that I do like about this documentary is when he speaks about the impression his father had on him, and also how his uncle Jerome was there for him and able to be there his whole career and his whole life. And basically he was the only one to ever get to him when he was ready to explode. So that was good to have that in your life. And, Shaq, he been through a lot. Shaq really has been through a lot. Big fella done lived a hell of a life. He was a great player and, a good guy on top of that. So we'll see how it all plays out for the rest of this documentary as far as some of the behind the scenes things. As far as athletically, we already know what happened with the Lakers and his rest of his career. But this episode, The Fall, is really good because it kind of breaks down a lot about how he was finished, because the episode 2 left off with him winning his first championship with the Lakers. He was still happy with Kobe. He most dominant year, MVP of the All-Star game, MVP of the finals. So we come to this episode 3. It's starting off with the second championship. And so it was a lot of stuff going on. Shaq was a little out of shape. He said he don't worry about it since I'm playing the bums in the NBA. I'll wait to get in shape. And I mean, it made sense because he broke it down in the sense that he big, is hard on his body. He's getting Hack-a-Shaq, doubled, all of that. And if he worked out in the off season, he wouldn't give his body any time to heal, wouldn't give himself a break. And he looked at it as he might wear himself down if he did that. So, one thing that also happened that year is that the league changed the rules. So before, you couldn't just put a man, in front of him and then behind them, unless they were in a certain position and the ball was certain things or whatever. But now you could just double, triple team him at any time. And, you know, for one, you know that was an ego trip for him. You know, they had to change the rules. I was so dominant. He don't say that, but you can see he kind of liked that they had to change the rules because he was so dominant. But you know what? That is kind of dope. There's very few players that they have had to change the rules for because of their dominance. So I will give him that. But you know, the second year, the problem started to emerge more because Kobe really started to come into his own. He became more dominant, and he kind of started to feel like Shaq's dominance in the way he plays was slowing down his dominance, which I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments, live and on the replay, who was slowing down who. They said that Kobe wanted to play outside in, which is how the NBA is played today. I'm old school. I like it inside out. Shaq wanted to play inside out. I mean, if you have a Shaq on your team, it's almost like mandatory. You got to play inside out. I mean, it ain't like, you know, he's Greg Ostertag or something. Anyway, they started having words in the media and different things. And Shaq, you know, saying that one thing he's thankful for from his father is having thick skin growing up. His father, you know, got on him, disciplined him, and made it so that he's able to take criticism and things from other people. So he said he was able to what's that word again? Compartmentalization. Compartmentalized. He was able to compartmentalize all the, you know, stuff going on, being said, go and play, do his job, and then, you know, worry about all the other stuff a little later. So, I mean, they were able to dominate and win, so you got to give them something. Because in that second year, they almost had history because they swept every team in the playoffs except for that very first game against Philadelphia. That's the only loss they had, and they almost had a chance to do something never done before, which was sweep the entire playoffs. And they said, and it makes sense because this is kind of how it is in sports, Kobe was mad. He wanted to be the first undefeated. Shaq was mad. But they had a 2-week window off because they swept everybody, and because Philadelphia was going to like a 7-game series, they got stale. And when they played Philadelphia, Iverson on fire. You know what I'm saying? If everybody that's a sports fan remember AI dropping that corner 3 and stepping over Tyronn Lue on the floor over there. But, you know, they was fresh off a 7-game series. They was hot, on fire. And it still took them overtime to win. So, you know, even Rick Fox was like, man, we wasn't worried about it. That was the best they could do. The best they could do, and it took them overtime to win. So, with that being said, he said I wasn't too worried about it, but they ended up going and sweeping the next 4 games on Philadelphia. One thing that was funny, Mutombo, you know, and for those that follow basketball, they know who Dikembe Mutombo is. Mount Mutombo, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest basketball players to ever live, but he was known as a defensive specialist. He wasn't an all-around player. And he was Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. And in the interview, he say, "I'm going to play one-on-one. I am Defensive Player of the Year. I play Shaq one-on-one." And so Shaq, he said that he liked AI and Mutombo. So he didn't really have any animosity or anything against any of them. So when he was playing, he was just playing. But then when he saw that, he was like, okay, now you done pissed me off. And he came for Mutombo. Uncle Jerome showed him that paper, and it was over. One thing that pissed him off also is after that first win, so this is the type of stuff I like to see and hear in the doc. After that first win, they were in the locker room, and Phil Jackson told them, shut the fork up and listen. And you could hear AI in Philadelphia celebrating, partying, laughing in the next locker room. So he was like, okay, that got everybody pissed off too. He heard everybody celebrating, laughing, partying, whatever. So, you know, it was pretty much a done deal. Pissed off the whole team, pissed off Shaq. Mutombo, he was in for a beatdown. And Shaq happily delivered. They did have this like clip of Mutombo trying to play Shaq one-on-one. This dude looked like he done got beat by somebody, robbed him and beat the hell out of this dude with bats all over. I'm trying to find the clip. Man, Mutombo got his ass beat playing against Shaq. I mean, it was embarrassing. And of course, they actually playing the footage. So you could see Shaq coming in with that shoulder blues. Mutombo's 7 foot, like 250. Shaq like 7'1", 325, 350. Muscle blues. Mutombo is getting hit, lifting up off the ground, both feet, and getting pushed back like, damn. He was making Mutombo look like a toy, a rag doll out there. And Shaq just had his way with him, destroyed Mutombo, and, you know, the Lakers ended up getting a second championship. We saw Shaq. He was there with Pops. He was happy. Everybody was happy. And so Shaq said one thing that he always loved and respected was discipline. He had the discipline from his father in the military. Let me move this over right. Yeah. Discipline from his father in the military, but then his Uncle Mike and Uncle Jerome was cops. And so he said when people would ask him when he was a kid what he want to be when he grow up, he wanted to be a basketball player, a rapper, a cop. And I remember this when Shaq was going to be a cop and everybody was laughing. And so Shaq was saying after that championship, he decided he wanted to be a cop. And he remembered how Uncle Jerome and Uncle Mike used to have so much respect in the projects. They could walk around with no gun and have all the respect, wouldn't worry about nothing. So Shaq, he go to police academy, Citizens on Patrol. This would be perfect to do a police academy remake. Have Shaq, hold on. Remember him in Grown Ups 2? He jumped over the hood of that car and crushed it. Blush. So Shaq, he went to police academy, got all the little stuff, started actually making arrests, he said. They showed him in court, I guess, snitching. Nah. So he used to play this game with this one trainer, Gary Vitti, where he would come run up on him and frisk him and throw him up against the wall, frisk him, and say, you under arrest, what you got on you, all of this stuff. So everybody said it was all funny or whatever the case until, it wasn't. He wore it down, he wore it out, and Shaq looking like RoboCop over here, running around, throwing this man up against the wall. So dude and got tired of it. One day he got pissed, and he told Shaq, stop, I'm busy. Shaq throw him up against the wall to frisk him, and he bit Shaq. So Shaq got mad, and Shaq laughing in the interview on the doc, and he like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, he resisting arrest. So Shaq said that he bust him in the side of his hip, punched him, bust him on the side of his hip, and dude on the back of his pelvis. He said he fell out, thought he was gonna die. Said he had to get 2 injections in order to walk again. Jerome come in snapping, told you not to put your hands on people, this, that, and the other. And Shaq was like, yeah, one thing he like about dude is that he never snitched and never told, and got Shaq in trouble about that. So here's dude right here. He was pissed though. He like, damn, man, it was fun at the time. I love him, love the big fella, but, he took it too far. And, bust him in the hip. He was like, man, I couldn't even walk. So, anyway, he said that he had a lot of love for Shaq, though, and he just felt bad. Sometimes he ain't, probably have his back like he should. It's probably because of times like that where he was a little mad and probably held it against him. But anyway, Shaq was talking about some of his toughest games that he ever played. And he was talking about, for some reason, which I know the reason, but he said for some reason his games against Sacramento were his toughest games of his career, which, I mean, they had a great matchup because the Lakers had some good role players, but they had Shaq and Kobe. But the Kings had a deeper team because Vlade Divac is not as good as Shaq at it, never, but he was good enough to give Shaq some problems and slow Shaq down some. Then you throw in Chris Webber, C-Webb. The Lakers had nobody for him. He was fast, he could shoot, dunk, athletic. He could do too much. Shaq couldn't really run with him. They didn't have anybody really that could stay with him. He could get in Shaq's way. They had a few bigs that can get in there and give Shaq problems and things. Then they had the guards that could shoot, Christie and, Bibby. They had a good squad. So they gave them a hell of a time. They played them so many times over the course of those 3 years. They knew each other. And then deep down, I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking maybe Chris Webber may have had a little animosity towards Shaq for making sure Orlando traded him for Penny Hardaway. Because it could have been Shaq and C-Webb. Who knows? I mean, hell, San Antonio won a championship with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. I mean, if you build the team right, surround them with shooters, it's hard to beat. But anyway, that was his toughest game. He called them the Sacramento Queens. Phil Jackson said the people in Sacramento a bunch of farmers. So, they all had little stuff they was mad about. Game 6 is a legendary game because at that time, I think it was, 3-2, Sacramento. So they could have won and put the Lakers out of the playoffs. but it was so many bad fouls and things of that nature. Anybody that goes and Googles or YouTubes Lakers versus Sacramento Game 6 bad fouls or calls, you can see all the stuff that happened. Kobe elbowed the dude in the mouth on purpose, damn near. It was just so much stuff happened. But in the end, the Lakers won, tied it up 3-3. And even the refs in the doc was saying that it was a lot of bad calls and things, but he did kind of try to say, you know, in the end, it all evens out. So, I don't know. In a way, yes, but they're saying over the course of the series, maybe the best team win and it evens out, which is probably true, but they had a chance to finish right then 4-2, and by not winning that game, it gave the Lakers a chance to snap into their zone, and they ended up winning Game 7. Although it was in overtime, the Lakers won. Shaq hit his free throws, Kings missed threes, different stuff happened. They almost won and put the Lakers out, though. They the only team that really came close to ending the Lakers dynasty of that 3-year span. Because when they got to the finals, they beat the hell out of New Jersey. They didn't have a chance. Even his pop said, you know, it would be good to win it where we started it from. You know, Byron Scott, the coach, said it was too much Shaq. And, you know, one thing that they did show that was interesting is that they did an interview with Penny Hardaway while he was there in the dock. And he said that although he was happy that Shaq won, it felt weird because he knew that should have been him. They had the talent. They were there first. It's unfortunate that the business got in the way, but that should have been them. And I actually think it should have been, and they would have been. They would have been going to the finals a lot sooner, too, than 2000. Because remember, Shaq was already with the Lakers for 4 years or 5 years. He left in 96, so he was there 4 years already. So in that 4-year time span, they may have been able to win it. I mean, look how many teams went from the East during that time period. It was like almost a different team every year. So, you know, it was sad. It was bittersweet for Penny. But Penny did have some freak injuries. But that's a whole nother story. Shaq, speaking of injuries, was big bone. Like a naturally big dude. So his body could handle a lot of weight and a lot of stress. But even the trainer said that's only to a certain extent. And that Shaq's body started to break down. Plus he getting older. But started having more injuries and things as he got older. And it started to affect him more. He said that the way your body works, which this was good info, I didn't know. A lot of you guys may know, but the force on your body and bones and joints when you playing ball, running, jumping is 4 times your body weight. So, for example, if Shaq was 300, that's 1,200 pounds of force on his body. It's a lot. So, running, jumping, falling, all of that stuff is 1,200 pounds of force on his body. But Shaq, I didn't realize this. I knew he was getting injured and would miss games, but I never looked into what was happening at that time. But he said that he always would have freak injuries, nothing like a hamstring or knee or none of that. He had a thumb, his big toe. He was doing the little Merton Hanks dance one time on the field and tore a muscle in his stomach. So I'm trying to see if I got that, when I get to that, I'll pull it up. But then he said what he used to use is painkillers. He's like, ooh, and I felt loose. I'm like, come on, Shaq, you shouldn't be kind of making that sound good. But he took a lot of painkillers and would play through injuries. He said, well, they say take one, but I would take at least two because I'm big. And so he said one thing with the painkillers, though, he had to eat a good meal because it would mess his stomach up. They're like, what'd you mean by mess your stomach up? He like, I got to take a shit. You know, that was a big gorilla-sized dump. Mountain man-sized dump. So, and he couldn't fit in the bathroom on the bus or on the airplane. So, that's a big bag of boo. So, you know, that wasn't going to work. But, Shaq and Rick Fox and a couple others said that could have did other things, but he would never cross that line. I'm wondering what other things he might have done other than taking painkillers. I mean, you taking the drugs, you can get the surgeries. I mean, he was getting surgeries when he had to. I don't know what else, but Shaq was saying he felt the most pressure. Uncle Jerome even said, you know, hey, he is, but that's what you get paid the big bucks for, which is true. Pay the cost to be the boss. So sometimes people ain't always ready for what goes along with certain things in life. You see one thing, but you're not ready to do whatever it is going on. And that's fair. But people should just realize that sometime before they get into it. Now, Shaq said that he didn't have a problem with it. He was raised, you know, with the military background and all of that stuff. So he wasn't crying about it. In fact, he said he would play hurt. And, you know, everybody, well, he's Superman, this, that, and the other. So, you know, he always played hurt. But when his toe was messed up, you know, you would think that ain't a big of a deal. But they would say that without that, you know, especially in a sport like basketball, you can't really do anything. Jump, move, run, all of that. And then you got everybody talking about his weight issues. And they were saying, well, Shaq got that extra pounds on him. And if he didn't have that extra pounds on him, maybe his toe may not have been, you know, a problem. They told him he needed surgery. He had bone spurs. He did pretty much what Scottie Pippen did with the Bulls. And he waited until the season started before he got the surgery. And he said, well, because they tried to blame him for the slow start to the season, and he felt, y'all should be able to hold it down until I get back, which I guess he got a point there, but they wasn't able to. That was Kobe's time to shine and had a team, but the team was built with him, so it wouldn't have really kind of worked that way. But nevertheless, he said in the media, which I think he should not have said in the media, although I do agree with what he said, which was that he got injured on company time, so he's pretty much going to get repaired on company time. He going to have a surgery on company time. Kobe was mad because now this is their chance to win 4 in a row, unlike the Bulls and everybody else. Kobe was ultra competitive. He blaming Shaq for waiting to get his toe fixed, coming in out of shape, all of these other things. And, you know, Rick Fox, he said he thought it was funny at the time. They got Rick Fox in the interviews a lot. And he was a teammate, and also he used to be married to Vanessa Williams. For all the ladies out there watching that may be wondering who he is. He said although he thought it was funny, it was accurate. Then you getting hurt at work, you get, you get fixed at work. But in the end, they lost to the Spurs 4-2, and they didn't get to go and win 4 championships, which Kobe was really pissed, and they really started having a lot of stuff being said between the two. Even the trainer felt bad, saying he didn't stick up for Shaq enough. He even cried a little bit, saying that, yeah, it was hard, but he did play through a lot of injuries. He felt Shaq got blamed for a lot, as well as Kobe. Shaq was like, we the most enigmatic duo in history, which he got a point. They were the most potent 1-2 punch for that period, but at the same time, they were. Did they love him? Do you hate him? Do they get along? Whatever the case. Shaq say when he would be talking, he knew exactly what was happening. When stories would get leaked, he would leak stories on purpose. They were saying Kobe didn't have a shortage of media people to get his side of the story out, and the media blew everything out of control between Shaq and Kobe, some say, and it made it damn near more difficult for them to get along. But the next season came. That's the season 03-04, when they got Karl Malone and Gary Payton on the team. And one game in the preseason, Shaq, after making a play, told the owner, Dr. Buss, you better pay me, which, of course, that pissed him off. Felt like he was showing him off, showing him up. The team had already split the whole organization between Shaq and Kobe. Whose side are you on, Shaq or Kobe? Kobe was younger at the time and more of the future, going upwards, whereas Shaq was going on the downslide of his career. He was starting that. So, but nevertheless, it was a split, 2 sides. Then Kobe had that sex charge. Shaq didn't really want to talk about it in the documentary, other than saying we had some arguments behind closed doors, but don't put that R word on me. I ain't gonna really talk about it. That's for others to talk about, which I thought that was classy. And then here come the others right away. And damn, did they break it down. Phil Jackson came on talking about what Kobe said and did. Uncle Jerome came in talking about, man, as bad as it is, you can't go and put your hands on him and wring his neck. Some of the things that, Kobe, let me see, one of the things Kobe said when he was talking about Shaq and Big Brother, let's see. He was talking about, I don't need a big brother. If you the big brother, don't come in out of shape. Don't beg for a contract extension in the public. Don't miss games for a toe that really ain't as serious, and everybody know. He was dropping bars. Don't miss games for the toe, cause it ain't really serious, and everybody know. Don't miss. Anyway, then Kobe said in the media, if I leave the Lakers, Shaq will be one of the main reasons why, and his childish behavior and all of that. Kobe, they laid it on thick, and they was saying, Kobe said, if he was really my brother, he would have gave me a phone call. I didn't get a phone call from him. I got a phone call from everybody else, from Jerry West to even Shaq's Uncle Jerome gave me a call. But I ain't get a call from him. Like, damn. And They even asked Shaq in the interview or something like, how if Kobe wanted to get in contact with you and call you, would you pick up? He like, I don't have a cell phone. Those people that's connected with me, you just got to think it. And we connected. They had a little interview on the sideline with the owner of the Lakers, Dr. Buss. And while they was asking him questions, he pretty much broke it down. They asked him down the list, well, what about Shaq? He said Shaq got an open offer on the table. We'll see where it is. And from Shaq's perspective, that offer was disrespectful. So, and Dr. Buss and everybody already knew how he felt. So that was that. They got to Phil Jackson. He said sometimes Phil seems like he wants to coach. Other times if it seems like he don't feel like coaching. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what the future is. They got to Kobe. He was like, oh yeah, Kobe gonna be a Laker for life. And Rick Fox was like, oh, I knew right then we were done in that moment. And Shaq, you know, and the Lakers made it to the finals that year. I mean, it was just so much talent. I mean, it was hard for them not to. And once they got to the finals, though, the Detroit Pistons, Rasheed Wallace already knew what to do with Shaq playing with Portland for so long. Between Portland and Sacramento, that was Shaq's toughest matchups of his career. Rasheed Wallace, he already was there then with Big Ben Wallace. Oh, yeah, they was ready to neutralize Shaq. They had Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups. They was there to neutralize Kobe and everything, and the Pistons took them apart. Rick Fox was like, man, because the series was tied 1-1. The Pistons won the first game. Lakers won the second. But Rick Fox was like, man, they took us apart in game 3, gave us a beat down. They broke our hearts. And the Pistons held them to 68 points in the finals. That was a record. First time in NBA history to be held under 70 points in the NBA finals. And Rick Fox was like, man, they embarrassed us, man. And so they got beat, I think, 4-1. And when they had the team dinner after the finals was over, Shaq said that he was on one end of the table and the owner, Dr. Buss, was on the other end talking with other people. Didn't say nothing to Shaq, not one word. And so he said to his wife, I think we up out of here. And he said, sure enough, the very next day, it was an announcement that he was traded. And he was upset. They didn't even give him a call. They didn't even say nothing. He like, I'm a military man. I'm used to moving, but you could at least gave me a call. Which I agree. That was Shaq. He was your franchise player. You won 3 championships with that man. He not just Joe Blow rotation guy. He was the Lakers for 8 years. He did a lot for that franchise. You could have gave him a call. You could have told him, pulled him aside at the dinner. Hey, look, appreciate you, big fella. This the direction we going. Thank you for your service, military man. They said Mitch Kupchak, the little general manager, said they made him a fair offer that would have still made him the highest paid player in the NBA. So Shaq could have stayed with the Lakers, but I look at it as they probably wanted him to go because Kobe was a free agent. And if Shaq would have signed with them, then Kobe could have left and went anywhere. And he was younger and had more upside. So, you know, they did that so that Kobe would be happy and sign back with the Lakers. We got rid of Shaq. It's your team now, without question. Now, will you sign? And that's pretty much what happened. That's my opinion. Phil Jackson tried to tell the owner, don't do it. I've seen all these type of trades work with Kareem and Wilt. It never works out for the team. But he said, why you care? You about to be gone anyway. It ain't your problem. You ain't coming back. Damn, Dr. Buss was cold-blooded, baby. So Rick Fox, he said he retired without Shaq. Shaq did get paid when he went to Miami, but he wanted to stay in LA. He was hurt, and he felt like even though he still got paid and this, that, and the other, but he felt like he lost. He wanted to stay in LA. He loved LA, and he did not expect that coming. And, after 8 years, it was over. And one thing Magic Johnson said in the doc is that a lot of people don't realize it in life, but success can get you. Success can get you, man. It'll sneak up on you. And that is so true. Even in American Gangster, your success took a shot at you. So what you want to be, unsuccessful? You could be unsuccessful and you won't have to worry about that stuff, or you could be successful. So, like they say, more money, more problems. Before we get up out of here, I'm going to give a shout out to y'all, man. My big bro Jimmy coming through. What's up, Big Jimbo? Samara, what's up, sis? Appreciate you. Tina, what's up? What's up, girl? Damian Kenny, what's good? How you doing? You say, how many championships did Kobe win without Shaq, especially after he threw Shaq under the bus during the rape police questioning? He definitely threw Shaq under the bus with that and said a lot of things like Shaq pays allegedly millions of dollars to keep people quiet and all kind of stuff. Shaq, he ain't forget that one. But Kobe did win 2 championships without Shaq. And Shaq only won 1 championship without Kobe. Now, Shaq won that one first with Miami, and then a few years later, Kobe won with the Lakers. He went to 3 straight finals. He lost the first one against Boston with Kevin Garnett. And then he won the next 2 championships. Juan Blaze. You say, Kobe made Shaq lose his marriage. He ain't like Kobe for real, for real. That is true, allegedly, that Kobe coming out saying that Shaq does all of those things affected their marriage, possibly contributed to it breaking up. And that is messed up. Trying to save himself. You don't never throw somebody else under the bus like that. That was you. You deal with it like a man. Now, if y'all was in it together, that's where the snitching come in. So what? Because you got caught and he didn't, you gonna tell on him and make him caught too? So, yep, that wasn't good. You say, Damian Kenny, Dr. Bus is letting Shaq know his business, never personal. The organization needed new blood. That's true. That's true. I mean, I agree, but you still can say to that man, thanks. You out of here. But thanks for what you did, man. It ain't personal. It's business. You did good business while you was here. Now the business going in a different direction. But more power to you. Hope you have a great career. Finish the rest of your career. Deuces. Anyway. Nim Quinn, what's up? What's up? All right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed that recap for episode 3 of Shaq's documentary, The Fall. I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Peace. And I'm out. Deuces.